Welcome to the sixth and last video of the Boost Your Rehab series. Today we're doing some expectation management. We're looking back to what we talked about and we're looking forward on how we're going to use that. So we have all these things packed in our backpack to be ready for our journey. What did we pack? We talked about why could I possibly be in pain. We talked about the cup analogy. And we now have some understanding of why we might be in pain or why we might be injured. Then we talked about the strategy of building a bigger cup by actually adding some stress to the system and growing back stronger. And we said that in order to do that successfully, we had to determine the right dose. We were going to start slow and progress slow, but we were also going to use the traffic light system to have that feedback system to always evaluate and communicate how much stress we actually apply to the system. Also, we talked about taking into account that we go into every session with a different cup. It might be full, it might be empty, it might be tall, or it might be a very small cup for this day. Next to that, we also talked about the connection between pain and your brain. We talked about the fact that pain works predictive. And if we have these factors like self-esteem or the things that we hear from our peers, our previous experiences, the things that we read online, if we have these things working against us, that might cause our system to become overly sensitive and actually give more pain signals than needed or more intense ones. Now, in the last video, we tried to explain that by talking about fragility and anti-fragility to boost your confidence and actually show you can handle stress. That system doesn't need to be so sensitive. So we talked about dealing with it by, for example, graded exposure, exposing yourself to the activity that you are scared of or that you are reacting to, even though it hurts. We talked about optimizing your general health for your body to be able to handle stress adequately. We talked about being a damper setting instead of an on or off switch, not going all out, not resting completely, but slowly and steadily increasing or decreasing volume, intensity, and frequency, taking small steps instead of big leaps. We talked about the fact that even if you have some form of diagnosis, that doesn't mean you are doomed. You might have firewood, but there is still no fire. Treat that firewood well and you will be fine. So this is our backpack, and now you might think I'm ready for my journey. I know my goals, I know what I want, I have the things that I need to go on this journey. But just for managing expectations, I think it's very important to know that even though we packed all these things, it's not going to be a smooth ride. It's not going to be easy from here on just because you watch these videos. I am sorry. You want to compare it to having the right gear to still climb that mountain. It's still going to be a hard upward climb. It's not going to be easy, but you have the right tools, you have the right gear to actually get there. You can do it from here on. Also, you know now which paths can be potentially more dangerous, so you can make the right decisions from here on. And still, even with the right gear, even with the right knowledge, you are going to fall in some pitfalls. However, you now have the tools to climb out of those pitfalls again. You can overcome these adversities. You can, even though things don't always go smooth, you can still manage, climb out, and continue your journey. You also know when to set up camp, because sometimes the situation is not there for more progress. You know when to take a step back, relax, and sit out the storm and continue your journey when the weather clears up. In other words, it's not always the right time for progression. Sometimes you need to take a step back. This will not be one clear road ahead. We have to take some step backwards. Sometimes we're going to climb, sometimes we're going to sprint, sometimes we're going to rest. That all depends on your life situations. But you are going to get there. But it's going to be an uphill climb. Definitely. And it will be with ups and downs. And the funny thing is, when you get there, when you reach your goal, these things might happen again. You might get re-injured. There will be new challenges. But from now on, during this journey, you will learn to appreciate your body, listen to your body, treat your body well, and next time that you get new challenges, you will be well equipped to handle these. Your goal is not to be challenge-free. Your goal is to be able to handle those challenges and live your life in physical freedom.